Warning, this is a review of Equestria Games, episode 89 of Friendship is Magic. No audio, video clips from the episode in question are being used, seeing that they belong to Hasbro and DHX Studios. And this is your first spoiler warning. All reviews in the new 26 are heavy on the spoilers. Because I can't do light spoiler videos. So please, before viewing anything past this disclaimer, watch the episode. And thank you very much for your support. Rate it, comment especially, and subscribe for more. So, we have finally reached the near end of the season, and the eve of the season finale brings us Dave Polsky's fourth written episode this season, Equestria Games. And as a former Special Olympics gold medalist, I can't help but to be proud of it. Now, if you missed it in the disclaimer, this is your second spoiler warning. Every review in the new 26 is spoiler heavy, and mind you, I have not seen these episodes ahead of their scheduled air dates. This video has been done 3 hours after the events of the actual episode's airing, so this is also kind of a reaction too. So we finally get to the Crystal Empire for the Equestria Games, Equestria's version of the Olympic Games, and boy does it hit the Olympic experience right. Everything from the flag bearing perception to the way that the closing ceremonies are done to national anthems, which we'll get to later, but most importantly, the torch bearing ceremony. You see, when we get there, we find out really quickly that Spike is kind of like the Justin Bieber of the Crystal Empire. And it stands to reason, seeing that in the season 3 opener, the Crystal Empire, he saved it from destruction and slavery at the hands of King Samra's return. And Princess Cadence gives him a fantastic honor to be the first dragon ever to light the torch at the Equestria Games. Man, that's pressure. And before the event, it doesn't seem like it's gonna phase our little friend. Well, not until the event is actually started. After some coaching by Miss Harshwinny, it looks like Spike is gonna knock this one out of the park. But when it comes to the actual lighting of the torch, Spike gets cold scales, so to speak. So cold that it looks like he's going to get embarrassed and lose his dignity. Huh. Something he should be used to by this point this season. But thankfully, Twilight is a merciful princess, and with her magic, bails Spike out of the issue. Thank God for Twilight Sparkle. But this unfortunately has a backfire effect. This hurts Spike's own personal pride and confidence. So much so that he acts depressed around the Empire. So much so that he can't even give a fan of his an autograph. But Twilight Twilight, of course, spills the beans to Spike and tells him the truth, which Spike kind of waves it off. I kind of shockingly. When Spike tries to tell Miss Harshwinny what the truth was, Miss Harshwinny stupidly says that Spike will want to put on a rock concert or something. On a side note, our favorite Olympic team from Ponyville comes in second to the Wonderbolts first. A nice twist on the typical underdogs overachieving and winning gold trick that most Olympic things usually do. And we see a sign of respect from Rainbow and Spitfire. Maybe she's closer to getting to the vaults after all. But when Spike decides to sing the Cloudsdale National Anthem, and admittedly, I skipped this scene. Why? Because I couldn't stand watching Spike's dignity get smashed twice in the same episode. It's just too much. Honestly, for all the hate that I gave the little guy last week, let me be straightforward. I do not hate Spike. I hate the way that Spike is betrayed. Always as a doormat, always as a dignity sponge, and not as a truly respected character. That's why I give Cadence the AOK to be the first member of the Spike Kiss My Ass Club. After all, it was thanks to him that she has a kingdom to rule. On top of that, Shining Armor actually spoke physical lines and actually had a physical presence. My God, there is a Jesus in Equestria at least. But after that dignity smashing event, Spike is all ready to go home and get the heck out of there. Even with good advice from the Cutie Mark Crusaders and the rest of the Harmony 6, which, side note, Pinkie Pie is just like most Olympians that watch it on TV and is interested massively in the hometown winning the medal count. Nice touch there, guys. And it seems we get to see yet another event, ice archery, which, by the way, that's awesome. Ice archery. Wow. You mean to tell me there might be a fire decathlon or something? That's one of the drawbacks of this episode. I wish we could have seen more events. But hey, nothing that a video game can't fix. Hasbro? At the ice archery competition, everything seems to be going well until one of the competitors gets injured and accidentally fires an ice arrow into a cloud, which causes the cloud to glow ice spikes and start to descend on the stadium. Danger looms, and it looks like the princesses are getting ready to jump in, but when Spike sees what's about to happen and instantly reacts, using his fire to blow out the ice cloud, the Empire and the games are saved once again from our dragon friend. And thus, it kicks his self-worth and pride in his work back up to what we expect, which leads to the moral of this tale. For people to be proud of your work is one thing, and proud of who you are is another. But none of it matters if you don't have pride in it yourself. This is a completely great lesson in self-confidence, and thanks to Cadence, he gets a second shot to make a frightful impression by lighting the fireworks for the closing ceremonies of the show, which is expertly done. And speaking of closing, that's what this episode leads to. This episode is a great mimic of the Olympic experience. Me being a former Special Olympian myself, I know how it is to be in a nerve-wracking situation when you have peers from all over the world or all over the country staring at you, waiting to perform. Sure, I wasn't the torchbearer at my Special Olympic Games, I was in the event, but trust me, when all the eyes of the world are upon you, it can be a really nerve wracking thing. And even people that are perfectionists and are great at their work on any given day can fall prey to the scope of the situation. This episode, for such a simple concept, was brilliantly written by Dave Polsky in an excellent way. It totally redeems inspiration manifestation from last week in my eyes, but the lack of other Olympic events keeps this thing from being perfect. But then again, there's that pressure of next week, though. That's why I give Equestria Games a 5 out of a possible 6. And and it totally shows up. A great, excellent episode to lead into next week's finale, which, by the way, on my Twitter account, twitter.com/LeocoLion, I will be live tweeting during the finale next week, which will lead ultimately to my review of the episode and ultimately also next week a review of the entire season 4, as well as later the week after a top 10 countdown of my episodes of the season as we close out the new 26. Once we get there, I'll explain what other pony style vids I'll be up to after the season has closed. But until next week, I am Nirvana Sparkle. Find peace in your own Nirvana. And I can't wait for next week.